Beneath the ancient sky, where the stars have burned for billions of years, the earth turns quietly, unchanged in its eternal rhythm. Long before the first cities rose, before language carried thought across generations, there was only the endless night, and within it, the spark of awakening humanity. Welcome, traveler of the present age. Tonight, let the noise of modern life fall away. Let your breath slow, your eyes soften, and your mind wander back to the beginning, to a world untouched by light or memory. If this gentle voyage through time brings you calm, stay with it. Let the rhythm of the earth be your guide, and as the stars rise, remember to support journeys like this one. Subscribe, linger, and drift into the story as it unfolds beneath an older sky. Now close your eyes. Listen to the silence of a planet before civilization. The wind moves first, soft, unbroken, older than words. It brushes through the tall grasses of an ancient plain, carrying the scent of rain and dust. The air is cool, unshaped by human breath. In the distance, thunder murmurs beyond mountains that have never known a name. This is the earth before memory. No fire burns in the valleys. No footsteps mark the sand. The night belongs only to the rhythm of life itself, the pulse of oceans, the quiet hum of forests, the breath of sleeping beasts. Above, the sky unfolds in silence. Countless stars glimmer like distant fires, older than every dream humanity will one day have. They tell stories, though no one yet listens. Tales of creation and collapse, of suns that lived and died before our world was born. If you could stand here, you would feel the immensity of the dark, not as emptiness, but as a vast living presence. The night was not the absence of light, it was its cradle. Every dawn that would ever come was already hidden inside it. Time moves without measure. A comet sweeps across the heavens, its tail dissolving into black. Below, the first sparks of life stir in tide pools, fragile forms that rise and fall with each wave. They will sleep, awaken, divide, and sleep again, obeying rhythms written into their very being by the turning of the earth. The planet dreams, though no mind yet exists to name the dream. Eras pass, mountains rise and crumble, forests appear, oceans shift, and the long heartbeat of the planet continues beneath stars that never cease their slow dance. Then, somewhere in the shadows of a great savanna, a flicker of consciousness stirs. Eyes open to the night. Hands, small and uncertain, reach toward the glowing embers of lightning's gift. The night, once a boundless mystery, now softened by light. Around the fire, the first people gather. Their language is not yet formed, but their hearts already speak. The crackling flame is a heartbeat, the shadows on stone a canvas of the mind. They do not know it yet, but the stars above are watching, reflecting the same fire in their silent depths. The darkness recedes, yet it remains vast. Above them stretches the same sky you see tonight, infinite, filled with questions. They feel it in their bones, that the night is alive. It breathes, it listens, it remembers. Every spark of firelight mirrors a star. Every human gaze that lifts upward begins a story that will never truly end. The wind swirls, carrying ash into the heavens. Somewhere in that glow, the first thought forms, not of fear, but of belonging. The night is no longer an enemy, it is a home. The earth cools beneath their feet. The moon rises, a pale guardian suspended in the void. Its light spills across rivers and stone, turning the landscape silver. Wolves howl in the distance, their voices rolling through the still air like the echoes of the planet's memory. The people listen. They do not yet understand the words, but they know the meaning. Everything is connected. The stars, the fire, the breath of wind. They sit in silence, not as individuals, but as part of the same great body that is the earth itself. Slowly the night deepens. The fire fades to embers, eyes grow heavy, and the first dreams of humanity begin to stir. In those dreams, the boundaries of the world dissolve. The forest whispers secrets. The moon hums softly like a mother's song. Mountains move, rivers speak, and the stars become the eyes of ancient spirits watching over their fragile children below. No one knows where those dreams come from. whether from memory or from the Earth itself. But when dawn comes, something has changed. Humanity has met the infinite, and it will never again be the same. Above them, the ancient sky brightens slowly. The stars fade one by one, like candles extinguished by the coming light. A new day begins, but the night remains within them, for they have seen the face of eternity, and it looks like home. The night stretches endlessly, deep and unbroken, a black canvas dotted with stars. Beneath this vastness, the earth sleeps quietly, yet within its quiet, life stirs. Somewhere on a great plain, a small group of humans huddles together. Their bodies are lean, their eyes wide, reflecting the dim light of the first fire. It is fragile, flickering in the wind, yet it speaks louder than any word, a warmth against the overwhelming darkness. Before this fire, night was a realm of uncertainty. Every rustle in the grass, every snap of a branch could mean danger. Predators roamed freely, guided by instinct and hunger. To survive, humans had only their senses, their courage, and the shelter of the land itself. But the fire changes everything. It is more than warmth. It is protection, illumination, and a teacher. Shadows retreat at its edges, revealing the outlines of trees, rocks, and riverbeds. The dark still exists, but it no longer dominates. Around the fire, stories begin, not with words, but with gestures, glances, and shared understanding. A child watches the flames dance, mesmerized, and feels the pulse of life that has not yet been named. The elders notice patterns in the sparks, imagining shapes, signs, perhaps even spirits. The night, once threatening, becomes a companion. Above them, the stars remain constant. They shimmer without judgment, without hurry. The Milky Way spills across the sky, a ribbon of silver that hints at the infinite. Human eyes trace its path, unknowingly mapping the beginnings of astronomy. Long before calendars, before clocks, the sky was a guide, a storyteller that never sleeps. The wind whispers across the plain, carrying scents of water and earth. It brushes the skin, cool and soft, reminding them of the vastness that surrounds their fragile fire. Every breath is a connection to the planet, every heartbeat an echo of time itself. In this night, humans discover an essential truth. To confront the dark is to awaken the mind. Fear is transformed by light. The unknown becomes a canvas for imagination. And in this delicate balance, the first dreamers are born. The fire flickers, shadows leaping across the faces of those who gather. A lone wolf howls in the distance, its voice a question or a greeting. It is impossible to tell. The humans listen, captivated, understanding not with words but with awareness. The night teaches patience, attentiveness, and respect. It is a teacher older than memory. Sleep approaches, soft as a feather wrapping itself around the group. The embers glow low, painting the night in gentle orange. Eyes grow heavy, and bodies relax into the rhythm of the earth. Even as they drift, the mind remains alive. Dreams intermingle with reality. The crackling fire becomes a river, a star, a path to distant lands. The shadows on the ground turn into creatures both familiar and strange. This is the birth of imagination, the first brush with the unseen. And while humanity sleeps, the earth continues its eternal rotation. Mountains shift imperceptibly, oceans breathe, and wind flows through valleys untouched by time. The stars above remain unchanging, silent witnesses to the fragile spark of life below. Somewhere a river murmurs through rocks. The sound is subtle but constant, like a heartbeat. It reminds us that life persists, even in darkness, even in uncertainty. All beginnings are quiet, yet all beginnings are profound. The fire dies slowly, leaving behind only the soft glow of embers and the lingering warmth in the air. Humanity lies in the cradle of night, their bodies still, their minds exploring unknown landscapes, and the stars look down, indifferent yet protective, shining with a patience that spans millennia. In the vast silence, one realizes that the dark is not emptiness. It is the space in which life learns, grows, and dreams. Every rustle, every flicker, every breath becomes part of a story older than the mountains, older than the rivers, older than memory itself. The night deepens, and with it the first understanding of time emerges. Humans learn to wait, to observe, to listen. The fire teaches continuity. The stars teach constancy. The earth teaches resilience. And so the first night passes, quiet, profound, transformative. When dawn comes, it will not erase what has been learned. It will illuminate it as the sky lights the plain, and the human spirit carries forward the lessons of darkness into the brightness of a new day. The horizon begins to glow faintly. Clouds drift across the pale moonlight, brushing the land with soft silver. Birds stir in distant trees, and the river catches the first glimmers of light, reflecting them in slow, shimmering patterns. Human eyes open to this new day. The fire is reduced to ash, but its warmth lingers in memory. The night has been faced, and the darkness is no longer a void. It is a companion, a mirror, and a teacher. In dreams, in stories, in every flicker of flame, the lessons of this first night endure. And somewhere deep in the subconscious, the star's silence continues to speak, guiding every heartbeat toward wonder, peace, and understanding. The earth turns again, unhurried, infinite. The humans rise, stretch, and greet the day. Yet a part of them remains beneath the ancient sky, wrapped in the eternal calm of night. The first fire is gone, but its light has not vanished. It persists in imagination, in courage, in curiosity. And the night, endless and patient, awaits the next dream, the next breath, the next moment of awakening. The sun has not yet risen, and yet the horizon carries a faint promise of light, a gentle whisper that the day will soon unfold. Beneath the ancient sky, humanity awakens slowly, still carrying the memory of the night's lessons, still feeling the warmth of fire and the weightless pull of the stars. Above them, the heavens stretch vast and unbroken. Countless points of light scatter across the darkness, each a sun, each a story, each a guide. For the first humans, the night sky was more than decoration. It was a map, a teacher, and a keeper of mysteries that would one day become the language of time. They looked upward and wondered, why do some stars move while others seem fixed? Why does the moon shift its shape across nights? And why, in the depth of darkness, do patterns emerge that can guide, warn, and inspire? No one yet knew the answers, but the questions themselves were enough. In wonder, the first awareness of time began to form. The recognition that the world changes, that life moves, that night will yield to day and day to night again. The stars became companions to these early observers. They marked the passing of seasons. They hinted at migration, the availability of food, the cycles of water and wind. Even before calendars existed, humanity learned to measure life by the constancy and movement of the heavens. And in the quiet of night, imagination intertwined with observation. Figures emerged from the sky, hunters, animals, God, ancestors. Stories were born, not yet written or spoken, but held in memory and shared through gesture, mimicry, and awe. The night sky became a living tapestry, guiding thought, emotion, and action in ways both practical and sacred. Below, the earth responded in its own rhythms. Rivers whispered their passage over stones. The wind rustled through the forests and plains. Predators and prey alike moved in the dim light, following patterns unseen but perfectly aligned with the natural order. Humans, small and fragile, began to recognize themselves as part of this rhythm. Neither masters nor mere observers, but participants in the ongoing story of life. The stars inspired not only observation, but also reflection. They prompted humans to ask questions about existence, about their place in the cosmos. Why are we here? What does it mean to live, to hunt, to dream, to sleep beneath this vastness? Such questions became the seed of philosophy, religion, and science, a bridge between night and thought, between firelight and imagination. In those first nights beneath the stars, humans began to measure more than distance. They measured time, the passage of months, the movement of seasons, the cycles of life and death. Every observation, every flicker of the heavens became a silent tutor, shaping patterns of survival and understanding. The night was no longer just darkness. It was a guide, a mentor, a silent archive of cosmic knowledge. Slowly, rituals emerged. Humanity learned to honor the stars, the moon, the wind, and the fire. These were not just survival tools, they were reminders that existence is interwoven, fragile, and extraordinary. To face the night with awareness was to embrace both fear and wonder, to balance instinct with imagination, and to prepare the mind for the dreams that awaited. And so, as humans slept beside their fires, the cosmos watched. Stars traced arcs across the sky, silently recording the movements of the Earth and its inhabitants. The first whispers of calendars, of cycles, of storytelling began to hum in rhythm with the turning of the world. The night deepened once more, and with it, the imagination of humanity flourished. Shadows cast by flickering flames became creatures of myth. The rustle of leaves became messages from ancestors. The movement of stars became pathways to knowledge, and the dark itself became a canvas for thought, reflection, and dreams. The first attempts to record these patterns were crude, scratches in stone, marks on bone, imitations of the heavens in clay. Yet they were profound. They marked the first human desire to understand, to preserve, and to communicate across time. In this way, the night did more than shelter sleep. It nurtured the birth of culture, memory, and consciousness itself. The river flows silently beneath the starlight, carrying reflections of sky to earth. Mountains rise, shadows stretching across their slopes. The wind sighs through valleys, whispering secrets older than any living creature. Humans, tiny in scale, remain awake in wonder, recording, observing, dreaming. As night slowly yields to the earliest light of dawn, the first humans rise, eyes still turned skyward. They carry with them not just firelight and warmth, but knowledge, imagination, and memory. The night has taught them the language of stars. It has shown them that time is measured not only by the sun, but by cycles, patterns, and repetition. It has whispered that life is a continuum, a dance between darkness and light, sleep and awakening, observation and understanding. The horizon begins to glow faintly, soft gold spilling across the plains and rivers. The moon retreats slowly, leaving the stars to fade, one by one, until only a pale shimmer remains. Humanity stretches, breathes deeply, and feels the gentle rhythm of the earth beneath their feet. In the quiet between night and day there is understanding. The night is never wasted. Every shadow, every flicker of flame, every twinkle of starlight contributes to thought, awareness, and the capacity to dream. And as humans step into the day, the lessons of darkness remain, etched into memory, into imagination, into the very essence of life. Even now, as dawn grows stronger, the night is present. It lingers in the rustle of leaves, the shimmer of water, and the distant flicker of firelight in memory. It waits, patient and eternal, for the next sleep, the next dream, the next moment of wonder. And in that awareness, humans learn the most profound truth of all. Night is not merely absence, it is potential, it is reflection. It is the birthplace of imagination, knowledge, and the first stirrings of consciousness itself. The sun now touches the horizon with delicate gold, yet the memory of night lingers in the minds of early humans. Even as the light spreads across plains and rivers, a part of them remains beneath the stars, still listening to the quiet stillness and whisper of eternity. For humanity, the night is not only a time to rest, it is a doorway to the unseen. As eyes close and bodies settle, the first dreams begin to form. They are fragile at first, flickers of thought unbound by language, shapeless, yet profound. A child sees a predator in shadow only to transform it into a guide. A hunter envisions a path through unknown terrain. An elder recalls the flicker of embers as a river of light. Dreams are the first playground of the imagination. They are the bridge between what is and what might be. And in this unspoken world, early humans begin to understand themselves. not merely as creatures of instinct, but as thinkers, observers, and creators. In these dreams, fire dances, rivers sing, and animals speak in ways that transcend sound. The forests themselves breathe with intention, and the stars above seem closer, as if reaching down to touch the mind that dares to imagine. Even in sleep, life continues to teach, to whisper, to unfold. The first patterns of thought emerge here. Humans begin to recognize repetition. The rise and fall of the sun and moon, the phases of the stars, the seasonal changes in water and vegetation. Dreams become a rehearsal of life, a preparation for the challenges of waking hours, a quiet rehearsal of survival, ingenuity, and foresight. And yet, dreams are more than survival. They are also wonder. In dreams, a shadow cast by a flickering flame can become a river, a mountain, a creature of light. A leaf drifting in the wind can carry messages from unseen worlds. The first humans do not yet speak of gods, myths, or heroes, but in these silent visions, the seed of all storytelling is planted. The night continues its patient vigil. While humans sleep and dream, the wind moves across plains and forests, carrying whispers of life, memory, and possibility. Rivers murmur softly, and distant mountains catch the silver glow of the moon fading from the sky. The planet itself participates in the quiet creation of imagination, turning slowly, rhythmically, eternally. Dreams stretch beyond the mind, touching the senses and the soul. The crackle of embers in memory becomes a river of light. The rustle of leaves becomes a song of guidance. The howl of distant predators becomes a lesson in awareness and empathy. All of these sensations mingle in the quiet theater of sleep, forming patterns that will one day become stories, rituals, and culture. And as these dreams flow, so too does consciousness begin to awaken to abstraction. Humans begin to connect one thought to another, one experience to another, tracing invisible threads between life and observation, between survival and curiosity. The night is no longer simply a cycle of rest. It is a laboratory for the mind, a workshop for the spirit, and a sanctuary for wonder. The first artists are born here, though they do not yet hold tools. They paint with shadows and firelight, with memory and imagination. They create not for recognition, not for reward, but for understanding, for connection, for the quiet thrill of creation itself. The night teaches patience. It teaches attention. It teaches the subtle language of rhythm, in fire, in wind, in flowing water. Every sound, every movement, every breath is a lesson in harmony, repetition, and reflection. And when the first humans awaken, the lessons of sleep endure. Dreams are remembered as impressions, images, and ideas that guide action, inspire innovation, and spark curiosity. What begins in shadow continues in light. What begins in silence echoes through history. The earth itself participates in this education. Mountains hold the memory of the night's cold. Rivers carry reflections of stars now vanished with the morning light. The forests, ancient and patient, preserve the songs of wind, animal, and fire, waiting for ears willing to listen. Humans rise with the sun, stretching their limbs, feeling the warmth of day, yet the night remains within them. It lingers as memory, as inspiration, as quiet courage. It is a presence that guides not by command, but by subtle persuasion, shaping thought, creativity, and imagination in ways invisible yet indelible. And as they gather, they share stories, wordless yet potent. A gesture, a look, a remembered flicker of flame, all become tools of communication, understanding, and connection. Through this subtle exchange, culture begins to take form, carried forward by memory and imagination alike. The wind rises, stirring grasses and leaves. Rivers shimmer in the new light, carrying the reflection of the sky and the memory of night. The fire's embers are cold, but their influence persists in the courage, creativity, and awareness of those who survived its glow. And still, the stars continue their silent arc across the heavens. They are patient, eternal, indifferent, yet attentive. Their light reaches the earth in fragments, touching the mind and soul of every creature willing to notice, willing to dream. Thus the night, once a realm of fear and uncertainty, transforms into a teacher. It is a laboratory, a sanctuary, a canvas. It nurtures the first stirrings of imagination, laying the foundation for art, story, ritual, and memory. And as humans walk beneath the first light of dawn, they carry this legacy. They carry the lessons of darkness, the spark of fire, and the reflections of the stars. Their minds are no longer only observers. They are creators. They are dreamers. They are inheritors of the quiet wisdom of the night. In this way, sleep is not merely rest. It is education, inspiration, and preparation. It is the crucible in which humanity's capacity for wonder, storytelling, and connection is forged. And the night, infinite and patient, waits again. It waits to cradle the next generation, to nurture the next mind, to inspire the next dream. It waits to transform darkness into possibility, fear into creativity, and silence into imagination. Intact. The sun climbs higher, spilling warmth across the plains, forests, and rivers. Yet beneath this gentle light, the earth continues its ancient rhythm, a pulse that has existed for eons, guiding life, shaping movement, and teaching patience. Mountains stand as silent guardians, their peaks catching the morning light while their bases remain shrouded in mist. Rivers weave through valleys, their currents steady and unbroken, carrying nutrients, memories, and reflections of the sky. Even as humans awaken, the Earth's rhythm remains constant, unnoticed by many, yet essential to all. The first humans move cautiously, attuned to these subtle patterns. They recognize the flow of water, the growth of plants, the calls of animals. They begin to measure time not only by the stars, but by the land itself. The turn of the seasons, the migration of prey, the cycles of birth and decay. Every rustle in the grass, every bird call, every shadow across the plain becomes a lesson in survival, harmony, and observation. In the forest, light filters through dense canopies, creating a mosaic of shadows and gold. Creatures stir, some waking from rest, others beginning their day in careful pursuit of food. The night's predators retreat into hidden lairs, while smaller animals emerge, sensing the safety that light provides. Every life form moves in accordance with the Earth's rhythm, a silent choreography of survival, instinct, and adaptation. Humans, though small and vulnerable, learn to mirror this rhythm. They track the migration of animals, the growth of edible plants, and the shifting of weather patterns. They notice subtle signs, the bending of reeds in the wind, the color of the clouds, the smell of damp soil. All these observations form an intricate knowledge, passed silently through gesture, repetition, and memory. Even as they gather food, water, and firewood, they remain aware of the silent voice of the earth. It is patient, demanding nothing, yet teaching everything. Mountains, rivers, forests, and wind become guides, reminding humanity that survival is not conquest, but harmony. The rhythm of life is everywhere. A herd of antelope moves with grace across the plains, guided by instinct and the subtle pressure of predators in the distance. A river murmurs over stones, shaping the land and nourishing creatures unseen. A bird lifts into the sky, wings cutting the air in patterns honed by millennia. All of this occurs without thought, yet with perfect coordination. The earth itself, a silent conductor of life's symphony. Humans begin to understand these rhythms intuitively. They learn when to hunt and when to rest, when to move and when to stay. They begin to anticipate the behaviors of animals, the shifts in weather, and the movements of the sun and stars. Through this understanding, they do more than survive. They begin to thrive. The night's lessons continue to echo in their minds. Dreams inform action. Observations inform imagination. And the fire, now cooled to embers, leaves behind a legacy of warmth, courage, and innovation. In the forests, the quiet hum of insects, the rustle of leaves, and the distant roar of a predator form a subtle orchestra. Each sound, each movement teaches attention, patience, and respect. The Earth is alive in ways invisible and profound, and the first humans learn to listen. Time itself becomes a teacher. They notice that the sun rises and falls with predictable consistency, that the moon cycles through phases, that tides follow the pull of unseen forces. Through observation and reflection, they begin to construct an understanding of order and predictability in a world that can often feel chaotic. And yet, the Earth is never entirely predictable. Storms sweep across plains with sudden ferocity. Volcanoes rumble silently beneath mountains. Rivers swell beyond expectation. These moments of unpredictability are lessons as well, tests of adaptability, courage, and ingenuity. Humans respond with observation, intuition, and creativity. They learn to read clouds, track animal tracks, store water, and predict seasonal shifts. They begin to shape tools, construct shelters, and develop strategies, all in rhythm with the Earth's silent guidance. As night approaches again, the cycle continues. The first humans return to their fires, resting beside embers that glow faintly against the darkening sky. The wind whispers through grasses and trees, carrying the scent of earth and rain. The stars emerge once more, timeless and patient, casting faint silver light upon the world. In sleep, humans continue to learn. Dreams merge with observation, imagination with reality. The lessons of the day, of fire, survival, and Earth's rhythm, are reinforced in the quiet theater of the mind. Each dream, each flicker of imagination, adds depth to understanding, preparing the mind for the next day of observation, reflection, and growth. The night deepens and life continues in its silent harmony. Predators hunt, prey hides, rivers flow, mountains endure, and humans rest. Each organism participates in a cycle that has existed for millions of years, a cycle of balance, rhythm, and interconnection. The first humans awaken with knowledge of the Earth as their guide. They are attuned to subtle patterns, aware of unseen dangers, and inspired by the beauty of the world. The night and day have worked together to shape their understanding, their imagination, and their survival. In this way, the Earth teaches not only how to live, but how to dream, how to observe, and how to connect. The first humans are no longer mere survivors. They are students of the planet, attentive, reflective, and inspired. And as they step into the dawn, stretching, breathing, and preparing for the day ahead, the night lingers within them. It is present in memory, in courage, in imagination, and in the quiet sense of wonder that will carry them across countless nights and generations. The Earth's rhythm continues unabated. Rivers flow, mountains endure, winds whisper, and life thrives in endless patterns of balance. Humans, now part of this rhythm, continue to observe, learn, and dream, guided by the ancient silent wisdom of the world itself. Dawn spreads slowly across the plains, touching the tips of trees, the ripples of rivers, and the slopes of mountains with golden light. The first humans awaken, stretching limbs stiff from sleep, feeling the lingering warmth of fire and the soft rhythm of the earth beneath their feet. In these quiet moments, consciousness stirs more fully, a deep awareness of self, others, and the world. The mind begins to trace connections. The fire kept them warm and safe. The stars guided their thoughts through the night. The river provided life and reflection. Every element, every sound, every shadow forms a thread in the intricate tapestry of understanding. Humans begin to move in groups, instinct and intuition combining with the first forms of social awareness. They share knowledge, gestures, and discoveries. A pattern emerges. Cooperation increases survival. The first society begins not in houses or villages, but in shared attention, shared experience, and shared imagination. Communication is subtle at first. A gesture, a look, a repetition of a sound conveys meaning. The young observe the elders. The elders teach without words, guiding movement, shaping observation, and nurturing understanding. Through this unspoken dialogue, culture begins, a legacy of shared knowledge carried from one generation to the next. Even the landscape teaches these early humans. They notice patterns in animal behavior, the way prey gathers near water, the direction of winds that predict storms, and the seasonal growth of plants. Every observation strengthens memory, intuition, and foresight, the building blocks of knowledge. Night follows day in a perfect, patient rhythm, and with night comes reflection. The fires are lit once more, shadows dancing against rocks and trees. Humans sit together, silent yet aware, feeling the presence of the world and each other. In these moments, imagination flourishes, giving birth to stories, myths, and rituals. These stories are not merely entertainment. They are tools for survival, frameworks for understanding, and expressions of awe at the universe. Dreams begin to intertwine with reality. What is seen by the fire in the stars or on the land is woven into visions that the mind cannot fully explain. Dreams allow humans to rehearse actions, test ideas, and explore possibilities beyond immediate experience. In this space, imagination and consciousness merge, forming the first seeds of creativity and reflection. The night itself becomes a teacher, patient and unhurried. Every flicker of flame, every sound of wind or water, every glimmer of starlight carries lessons in patience, observation, and adaptation. Humanity begins to understand that survival is not only physical but mental, that attention, memory, and reflection are as vital as strength, speed, and endurance. As the first humans begin to build rudimentary shelters, their awareness of the environment grows. They choose locations near water, protected from predators, but also observing patterns of wind, sun, and animal movement. Tools are shaped with intention. Fire is maintained with care, and rituals are formed to honor the elements that sustain life. The night has taught them courage. The day teaches them diligence. Together, these lessons form the foundation of early society. Community becomes essential. Cooperation ensures the safety of children, the sharing of food, and the success of hunting strategies. The first humans begin to understand empathy, planning, and communication, the roots of all civilization. In this delicate balance, the line between instinct and conscious thought blurs, giving rise to reflection, innovation, and foresight. Even the smallest details of daily life carry profound meaning. The way shadows fall across the land teaches subtle geography. The direction of clouds predicts weather. The behavior of animals signals danger or opportunity. Observation becomes a practice, an art, and a meditation, carried out with care and attention. Night returns, and with it, contemplation and dream. Sleep consolidates learning. The mind rehearses events, solves problems, and explores possibilities beyond immediate reality. Firelight flickers softly across faces, and the cycle of consciousness deepens. The relationship between humans and the natural world grows ever more intricate, respectful, and symbiotic. In the stillness, humans begin to recognize patterns in their own thought and behavior. They question, imagine, and remember. They discover the beginnings of morality, preference, and choice. They learn that actions have consequences, that attention shapes understanding, and that reflection guides survival. The stars above remain constant, their light unchanged over generations. They are silent witnesses to the first stirrings of culture, consciousness, and social structure. Humanity looks upward, recognizing itself as part of a greater whole, fragile yet capable, small yet aware. As the night deepens, humans sleep beneath the ancient sky once more. Dreams carry lessons of fire, cooperation, and observation. They rehearse hunting, gathering, and social interactions. They explore the unknown, and through these explorations, imagination and problem-solving evolve. The rhythm of life, day and night, work and rest, observation and reflection, continues unbroken. Humans learn to honor this rhythm, understanding that patience, attentiveness, and empathy are as necessary for survival as strength or speed. The Earth itself becomes a mentor, its patterns guiding thought, behavior, and imagination in ways that will echo across millennia. In this way, the first society is born, not in buildings or villages, but in shared awareness, mutual support, and the attentive observation of the world. The lessons of night, fire, and dreams converge to create consciousness, creativity, and community. And with each cycle of sun and moon, these lessons deepen, preparing humans for the challenges and wonders of the world they are only beginning to know. And so, my friends, we have arrived to the end of our journey. If you liked this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to support us to keep going. Thanks for watching, and good night.